Mine's not working. Mine's not working the right way. There we go.
Against the Miami Dolphins, man. That is a great matchup. And it's time to celebrate if you have Baker Mayfield on your fantasy football team.
Who's going to clean up all those flowers? Who else you starting this week?
I also like Derek Carr. He's given you 19-plus fantasy points in 3 of his last 4 games. He's got the Jets this week. The Jets have really struggled against quarterbacks, allowing an average of right around 19 fantasy points per game. So Derek Carr is a good play. Let's stay in that same game. Sam Darnold, 21-plus fantasy points in 2 straight games. He's also given you 19-plus in 2 of his last 3 games at MetLife Stadium. And the Raiders have allowed the 3rd most touchdown passes to quarterbacks this season. So Darnold is in play as a starter this week.
Okay, well, who you sitting, Mr. Confetti Cannon?
All right, you ready for this one?
Come on.
Aaron Rodgers.
What?
Now, I get it, okay? He's Aaron Rodgers, but listen, he has given you fewer than 15 fantasy points 6 times this year. And I know Kyler Murray had great games against the Niners in 2 of his last 3, but 32% of his fantasy points came as a runner. You're not getting that from Aaron Rodgers. This is also a road game, so I'm just a little nervous about A-Rod's potential in this contest. And this one, okay, you can at me on Twitter if you want. I'm sitting Jameis Winston. You look at the matchup and you think, wait a minute, it's Atlanta. Okay, well, let's not look at what they did several weeks ago, and let's look at what they've done lately. They held Drew Brees to fewer than 12 fantasy points, and this is a team who has 11 sacks and 4 picks in their last 2 games. This is not a great matchup for Jameis Winston right now, guys.
Okay, you mind giving me a pair of tight ends to start?
Yeah, we can do that, and we're going to start off with a guy who hopefully you picked up on the waiver wire. That's Jacob Hollister. He has scored at least 1 touchdown and 19-plus fantasy points in 2 straight games. And how's this for a stat, Mr. Wright? In 6 games this year, the Seahawks have had a tight end score double-digit fantasy points, and in 5 of those games, 18-plus between Hollister and Will Dissly. I also like Ryan Griffin, who I told people to pick up last week. He had a huge game against the Redskins. Now he's playing the Raiders. They've allowed the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends. This guy and Hollister, they could still be on the waiver wire in some leagues. If you need help at tight end, and a lot of us do, pick them up and start them.